Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back to iAllegedly. We've got a great video for you today. We're going to cover some of the SBA scam and fraud schemes that they want you to avoid during this time with grants and loans. And before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, share this with all your friends and colleagues. You know the rules, okay? First things first, it's a very large news story out that in stimulus checks, there was over $1.4 billion sent to people that were no longer living. So that would be dead people, got over $1 billion worth of stimulus checks. You can't get money, but they've got $1.4 billion in stimulus checks. Okay, now the best part is the IRS reached out and the IRS said, currently we have no mechanism to reach out to these people, okay? Because they're dead, okay? There's no way to communicate with the dead, the IRS said. So you cannot make this stuff up. So you can't get 25 grand and $1.4 billion was sent out. I got a question for you, and it doesn't matter lefty, righty, righty, tighty, lefty, loosey, whatever you guys are out there. You guys want vote by mail, okay? And they just sent $1.4 billion worth of stimulus checks to dead people. Okay, it makes no sense. You cannot make this stuff up, okay? Let's get into the fraud schemes and things like that that people are working on. This is all starting to come to a head right now because the SBA is responsible in the next week or so of notifying all of us of who got the PPP loans, okay? We have been promised this. It's going to be divulged for loan amounts over $150,000, okay, which is seriously, it's a small percentage of the loans, so it's not the biggest number of loans, okay? The National Federation for Independent Business today wrote a letter to the SBA pleading with them not to give this information out. And I think it's utterly preposterous. I'll leave you guys the link on the letter, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous. They're talking privacy concerns and they're quoting banking laws back to 1957, which is utterly ridiculous, okay? The idea with this isn't a traditional loan. These aren't traditional times. People that were given these PPP loans that lied and said that they had X amount of employees or were going to spend the money on certain things and didn't, they need to be accounted for. They need to be brought forward so we can see this, because you're going to see, car dealerships inside of an auto mall where one guy got the money and one company didn't, and one guy may have not been truthful, just going to say guys here, may have not been truthful, and he got hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, okay? And this needs to be divulged. So the National Federation for Independent Business doesn't feel that way, and who cares, okay? The SBA has already admitted that they feel that there's been $10 to $20 billion in fraudulent schemes, not from their money, but from people that have been charged fees and things like that outside of the norm that they shouldn't have paid, okay? So first things first, if in fact you do borrow money from these programs, you are not to pay a dime to have somebody help you with the grant application. Now, I am not talking about your accountant or a financial institution. There are businesses that do tax preparation, things like that. Those are all legitimate companies, okay? But the fees that they can charge you are capped. They just can't go out and just charge you whatever they want. They can't charge you application fees and things like that with the promise of taking your money to get you a loan or get you a grant. Do not pay for that. It is an absolute scam. The SBA limits the fees a broker can charge a borrower to 3% for loans to $50,000 and $50,000 or less, and 2% for loans between $50,000 and $1 million. Now, if the loan is above $1 million, they get to charge you an extra 1/4 point, okay? So that's the most that they can charge as far as fees. So that's great. That's, any attempt to charge any of the fees, the SBA considers completely inappropriate and illegal. Okay. Here are some guidelines that you need to follow, okay? The SBA is not calling anybody. They're not soliciting business right now. They're completely overwhelmed. You may be working with a loan broker and have questions and have called the loan center and gotten to tier 2. And if one of those people calls you back, they're going to identify themselves with who they work for and operator numbers, things like that that notify you that they are with, in fact, the SBA, okay? Do not give your personal information out to anybody over the telephone. They should have already had all this stuff filed online or via email that you've sent them in the past. If you receive any calls, emails, or other communications claiming to be the Treasury Department or the SBA, they're completely bogus, okay? They do not ask for personal information during this time, and it's amazing how many people are being asked to pay by debit card, by wire transfer to pay these fees. It's crazy. Let's have your banking information. We'll do a direct deposit to get you this loan. These are not SBA loans. There are loans out there that will lend you money for advances. They will charge you exorbitant fees. You can get credit card advances. You can get an advance that's deposited in your checking account, and then they will take out a daily deposit or a daily withdrawal, to pay this loan back. You can do whatever you want for those things. They're not government loans. Those are from financial institution and hard money lenders that are out there, okay? Again, do not pay a cent for any of these loans. The SBA, the PPP, everything is free to apply for all these programs. The grants are free. We've gone through, if you have problems receiving them, what you should do, but you should not be paying a dime for any of this stuff. Under the CARES Act, there are no package fees. There are no, loan application of any type. If you've been charged that, you need to reach out to the lender and get that money back. The advice of don't work with unknown lenders. Here's the thing. The EIDL loan is a disaster, okay? Loan and a disaster program right now. We know that. Talking to the SBA, they're saying, they're telling people right now that they don't have any more money, but they just told me today that they're trying to hire more people to handle the backlog for the loans because they're going to be months out. How is that? Either you're out of money, you have money, you don't have money, whatever. So it's preposterous, guys, that we're in this program and we're waiting for this. Don't work with unknown lenders. The PPP program was sent out to over 5,000 different lenders. There are fintech companies, there are insurance companies, there are online companies that are reputable that are doing these loans. You can check that out. You can, hey, just fill this application out, don't talk to us, send us this fee. Do not do that. You can speak to someone. If you cannot speak to someone or they will not allow you to talk to somebody, do not get involved with them. Do not fill out the application and don't do this. Don't buy any fast money promises. Nobody has the inside track on how to get this money, okay? And, I've had people comment that I don't have access to the SBA. I've got a ton of access to the SBA, okay? And as we work out my next event for August, and they want to be there, and I don't think they should be because of all this nonsense, trust me, I have access to these people, and they're not doing a very good job, and they know they're not doing a good job. But do not pay. Do not believe that somebody has the inside track. We're getting funded faster than this other people. It is absolutely not true, okay? There's a guideline that they have to follow, and it's just that simple. If you see the SBA logo on something, they can use it to say, we have SBA loans here, but they can't say that we're SBA authorized or we are the SBA. The EIDL loans can only go through them. The PPP loans can go through all those other different sources. If you sign loan documents and you are not funded quickly, okay, you need to call them and you need to reach out to the SBA directly and find out what the problem is. I know people that have sat inside of a bank, done their PPP loan, and before they left the bank, the money was wired into their account. I know people that signed loan documents, and before they got home, the money was in the bank account. So for you guys to sit there and tell the horror stories of waiting 28 days, 35 days, all this stuff without getting funded after signing the loan docs, did you deal with the SBA? Because everything I've talked to, they said, Dan, that's not us. It should be no more than 2, 3, 4 days after funding. Now, this week, look at what you've read. People have filled out an application on a Monday, gotten their grants by Wednesday, which is how it was supposed to be originally, and some of them got funded by the end of the week on Friday, okay? So for you to wait 35 days, I am mystified that some of you would sit around and wait for, maybe they'll get back to me, okay? That is absolutely nuts. Now the do's that you should do. You should contact the SBA and find out their loan programs. You can go to the Treasury Department directly and you can get information on these loans. The don'ts, again, don't pay for advance information. You do not, there's no way to say, hey, listen, you're gonna get $300,000. We can get you an advance of 25 grand, pay us this fee. That is insane that people are doing that. If you start getting text messages to say, click on here, apply here, they don't text people. They don't apply, you can't apply for a loan via text with these people. With any lender, it just doesn't work, okay? Reach out to them, make sure that this is legitimate as you're doing this. Verify the lender. Go find out, you've heard of Bank of America, you've heard of Lendio, you've heard of PayPal, you've heard of Cabbage with a K, okay? Do not fall for this. Don't click on reply emails that you don't know. The SBA emails will have your application number with any email that they sent you, and read it first before you start clicking and applying, oh, I'm getting my money, okay? Have some common sense before you do that. So I just want to close this out. We've got a real big week coming up this week in that the SBA has to divulge the numbers for the PPP loans, the EIDL loans, and there's going to be hell to pay this week because regardless of what you believe, but that Senate subcommittee on small business and entrepreneurship ran by Marco Rubio, believe me, please believe me, those two men are not going to tolerate what's going to be tried to be pulled. That letter from NHIB, okay, or NBIH, whatever the hell they are, the National Business Federation, whatever, that's not going to work. The SBA has to divulge this information to all of us. You're going to see agencies and businesses and people that never should have been 10 miles from this money that got it. And it's not going to be pretty for these people because they're going to have to answer the questions on why they changed statutes and just diverted it to your detriment, okay? You can't get money, and these people felt that you couldn't have $10,000. So there's going to be some answers by the SBA, and maybe we'll bring this back more often, Okay, so I think that there's going to be a few more jokes coming this week, but stay tuned. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, share this with all your friends and colleagues, okay? Okay? So, subscribe. See you soon. I kind of like this. I think I may do this more often. Okay. Thank you. I'll see you soon.